You might know that India is home to the world's most populous country with over 1.4 billion people, famous for things like Bollywood and its massive movie industry, the sport of cricket, which is referred to as its second religion, and the birthplace of yoga thousands of years ago. But what you may not know is India's economy is set for explosive growth. In this video, let's talk about how India's economy could easily become the largest in the world if and when they could surpass the United States, and if a booming Indian economy would speed up the de-dollarization process. It's India's time to shine. Here's why. Like I mentioned, India has the largest population in the world. More importantly, they have one of the youngest populations in the world with an average age of 28.2 years old. For context, the United States has an average age of 38.1 years old, and China has an average age of 39 years old. And because of that, India has one of the best age dependency ratios in the world. This ratio is a good way to measure the non-working population, or those that need to depend on those that are in the working population. And not to get too nerdy on you here, but it's calculated by taking the age groups of 14 years and under plus 65 years and older divided into the 15 to 64 age group. It's not a perfect system, since there'll be people considered a dependent who are working, people in the working age who aren't working, but hey, it's a good starting. A lower dependency ratio is desirable because it indicates that there are more adults of working age who can support the young and the elderly of the population. India's dependency ratio is 48.3%, outpacing the United States with a 54.5% rate. Another positive that's on India's side compared to most other countries around the world is the type of work that's been growing rapidly in their country, like healthcare, digital, information technology, and financial, just to name a few. Add to that how more global countries are opting for India when it comes to their outsourcing and investment opportunities. Because of that, India is third when it comes to unicorn companies, meaning non-public companies with a market cap of $1 billion or more. This is no longer the India of your parents' generation when they were known for call centers and agriculture. But don't just take my word for it. Morgan Stanley published a piece outlining India's impending economic boom. Currently, India is the 5th largest economy in the world and are projected to surpass Japan and Germany by 2027, putting them in third behind the United States and China. They go on to say that in the post-COVID environment, CEOs and business owners are more comfortable with the idea of work from home and work by outsourcing, with the main destination right now being India. And global spending on outsourcing could increase from 180 billion per year to around 500 billion by 2030. India isn't just supporting outsourced work, but they're building factories too, which is why India's manufacturing is set to increase to 21% of their GDP by 2031. The next reason why India is ready to take the economic leap is with their digital transformation. This is gonna blow your mind. In 2009, India came up with a program called Aadhaar. This was a biometric authentication system. So by simply scanning their fingerprint or retinal scan or facial ID, it made it much easier for people to access programs like Social Security, to pay taxes, banking, healthcare, and shopping. Because this program is now part of something called India Stack, which is a decentralized utility for payments, it made it a lot easier for people and businesses to apply for loans a lot cheaper and a lot more efficiently than ever before. Now, this was an extremely controversial program when it came out, but a 2018 report found that customers actually got better prices, they waited less in line for their food, and it cut down on fake identities trying to take advantage. And through the system, people actually have the ability to downvote stores and local businesses, which then get passed on the government, who has the ability to shut down underperforming operations. This incentivizes India to build better businesses and for the owners to run better establishments. A win-win. This system, as good as it sounds, may or may definitely not work here in the United States for privacy and data collection reasons, but the point is that India is creating some super innovative ideas to help supercharge its economy. Speaking of growth, the amount of Indian households making $35,000 per year will increase from 5.6 million households to 25 million households, or a 5% increase. More income means more spending, which means in theory, India's stock market, the Bombay Stock Exchange, should go up. According to Morgan Stanley, the next reason why India's economy is booming is because of its energy transformation. An estimated 2/3 of India's new energy consumption will be supplied by renewables. This could reduce India's reliance on imported energy and improve living conditions in a country that is now home to 15 of the top 20 most polluted cities in the world. As the world transitions from fossil fuels to renewable energies, India should see massive amounts of investment opportunities and innovations in this field, which will ultimately help them become much more efficient, productive, and of course, increase their income and economic capability. Let's finally talk talk about how India's economic potential could impact the United States and the dollar. But first, this is the third video of a 5-part series where I outline the 5 BRICS countries and their economic influence on de-dollarization and the United States. I've already done videos on Brazil and Russia, and those are down in the description for you, only after you finish watching this one first. And if you're excited to see the upcoming videos highlighting China and South Africa, make sure to let YouTube know by subscribing to the channel. Recently, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi traveled to the United States for a visit, and by all accounts, the red carpet was rolled out for Modi and his fellow Indian travelers. The United States understands the economic, diplomatic, and global power India will soon have. Or they've just been reading the same news articles that I have. One or the other. Speaking of news articles, here's another one. Goldman Sachs, the company who effectively invented the name BRICS for the leading emerging and developing markets some 20 years ago, is projecting India to surpass the United States economy by 2075, trailing only China at that time, who are projected to pass the US economy by 2035. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Down in the comments, let me know which country will be the top economy by, say, 2030, 2050, or 2075, and why. Back to Modi's US visit. By all accounts, it was a successful trip from both sides. Here are just a few quick-hitting items that will positively impact both countries. One of the largest chip manufacturers here in the US, Micron Technologies, is going to invest $825 million into a new chip assembly and test plant in India. If it goes well, you'd have to think there's going to be more plants coming. General Electric's aerospace unit says it had made an agreement with India to make fighter jet planes for the Indian Air Force, and those things are not cheap. General Atomics, a drone manufacturer in the United States, is creating a plant in India where India will be purchasing specifically 31 drones for over $3 billion. Money for a US company, job creation for India, and a sneaky way to spy on China. Check, check, check. How about the next one? Vikram Solar, an Indian solar panel maker, will be investing $1.5 billion into a US factory to assist the US solar energy supply chain. This time, an Indian company making money, US jobs are created, and it's a way to catch up on China's solar panel monstrosity. Check, check, check. At the same time, India has had to juggle its responsibilities of being a founding member in BRICS, you know, the group that's trying to eliminate the need for the US dollar. Rumors have been swirling from this group about the creation of a BRICS currency backed by gold. Many were expecting it to be announced at their annual summit at the end of August, but it seems like that has been put on the back burner due to challenges involved in starting a new currency from scratch. And India is the only country in the BRICS bloc that's doing financially well in terms of GDP. The country can survive without BRICS and don't need an alternative currency to help supplement the rupee. Considering all these factors, India made an announcement that they could back out from launching the BRICS currency if it were to be announced. They have the most to lose if it's a complete flop, and quite honestly are still concerned about China's self-interest. While wanting to become more autonomous, India feels slightly different from the rest of the BRICS country, who come off as ravenous when speaking about the dollar and how it must disappear immediately. For now, it seems like both the United States and India will remain kumbaya and understand that they need to lean on each other economically and diplomatically over the next couple decades to come. Speaking of kumbaya, Russia. With their attack on Ukraine, how could they possibly have a successful economy with everything working against them? I go over all that in this video here.